Yeah.
There was a time, that was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
true. Yeah, picked a good time to get.
Yeah. Timing was good.
We are live. Everybody ready?
Yep.
I call this meeting of the Madison Elementary School District Governing Board to order. Ms. Humphries, please call the roll.
President Gresham,
Here.
Vice President Thompson,
Present.
Member Holcomb,
Here.
Member Kazi, Member Spear.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. Do I have any changes to the agenda, or I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Kazi, seconded by Ms. Thompson. We are voting.
May have to have a hand.
Everybody, there we go. Okay, the agenda has been adopted. Let's see, we don't have any guests for the pledge. Dr. Lomely, would you mind leading the pledge? Thank you. Would anyone like to call for executive session? No, thank you. And we will go on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Guerin.
Good evening, President Gresham, members of the board, cabinet. Thanks to all of our staff, parents, and community for really a spectacular first day of school for the 24-25 school year. I was able to visit all 8 of the schools, plus Madison Highland Prep and the new community ed preschool area. And I know cabinet was everywhere because every time I went in a building, they said, oh, I just saw this cabinet member. So we were all out and about supporting the schools. I think my favorite moment was when I walked into an MTA preschool and a 4-year-old in her uniform in the preschool classroom saw me, did a double take, and then said, oh, you're not my mommy. And I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not. And then she went back to playing. There were no tears. There were no tears. But there were some tears in some kindergartners. It was really cute. Simus's parents had a boo-hoo or wahoo breakfast, whatever your attitude might be. And at the middle schools, the middle schoolers were mature and looked like they knew what they were doing and happy to be there. So it was great. A special welcome to all our newest kindergartners. And if you had to guess, which high school graduating class do you think that they would be? 2037. I know, if that's... I do want to welcome all our new staff members to the Madison family. Educational Services did a spectacular job, along with HR, welcoming our new certified staff. And we had a mix of experienced teachers, new teachers, some people that were Madison parents or had been Madison students. So it was, we also had some guest teachers go into the certified teacher role, which is what we had hoped for. So that was wonderful. A sincere thank you to all who helped with the welcome back. It was a really fun day with a lot of our talented teachers teaching master classes, over 900 staff members, coming together, and with the board support, over almost 100 prizes, which was great. So it was a time-honored Madison tradition that I've come to love. We're still hiring, and Dr. Lomely will tell you about that. And again, thank you everyone for an incredible first day. There's so much that goes behind the scenes to make that happen, and when it all comes together, we can all really enjoy it.
Thank you so much. And I am impressed you made it to every school today. That's impressive. Yeah, today was really warm. Okay, I'll start with Mr. Holcomb with our board member reports.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I want to congratulate everybody on having the first day of school. This is going to be a phenomenal year, and it's a great way to start it off. And And I think the real start for me was when we had the welcome back breakfast and get together. That's always a great event, but I was particularly struck this year by Dr. Guerin, your presentation and the whole thing about, leading with your heart. It's one of the things I come to learn, that the academics are great, all of the administrative stuff, everything we put into the school district is what helps make it a special place. But what really drives it from its core is the culture. And I thought that, and the response of all the staff, the teachers, everybody involved, even down to bus drivers and the cafeteria, really, it shouted out to me the culture that we have, the supportive culture, and that we are educating these kids, but we are also taking care of them, and that leading with the heart, and that I thought was particularly special. I also, today, I don't know if you saw it came through and thing, that they announced the candidates for the Arizona Teacher of the Year Award, and we have another teacher from Madison, second year in a row, who she's up for she's an honorable mention, but she's also from Camelview, and that was, I thought, particularly special. As small a district as we are, really, to have two teachers in 2 years be considered for that award, I think is a real testament to the district. And it, once again, is on October 19th at the Madison Center for the Arts. So anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kazi?
It's the round robin.
Bring it up here. It's
Woo!
keeping you on your toes.
I don't know if I'm ready. No, I just want to echo Mr. Holcomb's comments and thank everyone who made their first day a great day. I had the honor of serving as a crossing guard at Camelview, and my 5th grade self was like, I can't believe you're finally getting to do this. Like, I don't know, 40-something years later. But it was really fabulous. The kids were great. I was actually a crossing guard near the number 1 bus stop, so I got this nice mix of, like, too cool for school middle schoolers, and then, the wide-eyed kindergartnens. And I just have to say, like, these kids, they were so excited, and I would say, have a great year, have a great first day, and they'd be like, I love your shirt. I mean, they're like 5 years old. They were, and you have to be in this headspace where you're like, you're going into this new place, but you have the bandwidth to give someone a compliment. It was just very impressive, I have to say. The parents were so engaged and arms full of all the materials they were bringing for their kids' classrooms, and all the tissues and hand wipes, whatever they were bringing was just a lovely thing to see. It just what a community, right? That I saw was really fabulous. And I just wanted to thank Dr. Guerin for the vision that you kind of laid out for us for the school year at the Welcome Back event. I think it's when we have something to strive for, something you can visualize, it's powerful and it's meaningful, and it makes a difference. So thank you, and then again, thanks to everybody.
Thank you. Ms. Spear, would you like to?
Thank you very much. And Dr. Guerin and also Jackie Goen for their hard work on the event. And thank you for your kind of conceptual awareness and your vision, to use Misha's word, that we're able to all rally behind and rally around. And so I just wanted to say thank you and great job. And happy first day to everybody, K through 8. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Vice President Thompson.
Thank you. I want to echo the comments of my fellow board members. Welcome back. It was really a fantastic event. Thank you, Dr. Guerin, and all the staff who put in so much work to put that on. I also want to thank all of the staff members who did each of their little programs. I didn't attend one. I tried to walk around and poke my head into almost all of them. So much fun to see our staff engaged in everything from sound meditation to tap dance, from professional development, crocheting. So it was really, really fun to see how engaged everyone was, and really wonderful to see all the talent that our staff brings forward to share with other members of the staff. I also wanted to echo that that sharing of that vision and the culture for the whole staff. And just to put a finer point on it, to tell you about that, a little family, a couple of little family anecdotes. First, as a board member, I'm recognizable to several of the staff my kids have interacted with, but all of them came up to me before the event or after to ask how my kids were doing and ask how they were feeling about the transition to middle school. All the teachers that they had at their previous school, and I thought that was pretty special. And then today, the principal of their school, who they had previously at their old school, all she did was send me a picture of my kids at playground at lunch, and I thought that was really lovely. So this place is very special. This district is very special. I'm so thrilled that everyone had such a great first day of school. Deeply appreciate everything that went into making that move seamlessly, even drop off at pick up and drop off at Park, where I was helping out monitor or just shooing cars in the direction of where the doors should be open. Went very smoothly, and pick up this afternoon went great, and really want to thank all the parents, students, and staff for making that go so well. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I have to ask Ms. Causey, Ms. Thompson, did you get to yellow vest or something?
Oh, I did.
Nice, of course.
I'm working my way up to crossing guard because I didn't get the sign, but maybe next year.
I know some schools that are hiring. So. Yeah, awesome. Yes, I will also repeat what Ms. Thompson said, was that at the Welcome Back breakfast, there's teachers that still ask about my kids, and the oldest is out of high school now, and they're still asking. So it is really special. It's very cool. And then I go home and tell my kids, so-and-so asked about you. They're like, really? So it's cool. Yes, and congratulations, Dr. Guerin, on the Welcome Back event. Great job. I got to participate in the drum circle. That was a ton of fun. I wish I could do all of them, but yes. And then this morning I went to Meadows and handed out schedules in the morning. Some kids forgot their last name, but that's okay. We'll get there. No, it was great. I do wish I could have gone to the. I'm sorry. I love seeing the little ones, but I got to go to the middle school today, so that was great. And congratulations to our Teacher of the Year finalist. And but not to brag, but my cousin is also a top 10. Yes, in the Washington elementary school district. So I'm super proud of her. I'll do a little brag there, Miss Spector. Okay, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the consent agenda? Okay, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Thompson, seconded by Mr. Holcomb. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. On to item 5.1. I don't see anyone in the audience other than Ms. Guin, but do we have any calls to the public this
We have no calls to public.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll go on to 6.1. Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, members of the board and cabinet, I'd like it noted that I did not mention one number in my superintendent comments before Ms. Garvey's presentation. So I will give a hand signal, though. I'll go like this. So turning it over to Deputy Superintendent for an enrollment update.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin and cabinet. I am just truly as excited as anybody about the first day of school. It's just one of the best days of my year. And today was no exception. It was amazing how smoothly everything was going out there. But just to let you know where we are today, we had 5,442 students show up, which is only 79 students less than the last day last year, which is truly amazing. Generally, the first day we're down 200-300 kids. So to be down 79 is wonderful. And because generally the first week, 2 weeks of school, it truly does pick up. And we had almost 95% of our enrolled students show up. So truly, truly, like, it's just been a wonderful year, a little bit to add to enrollment. We do have the online registration process now, and this year we have seen an amazing uptick in the number of parents that are confirming and going through the registration process. So it's just every day we actually have a celebration. My department, I walk in and they're like, guess how many today? Like, this school is now up to this number. So it's just, that's the marked difference that we have. So it's truly, truly exciting just to see the engagement of all the families, and then just the kiddos. So very positive.
Thank you very much. And we'll do 6.2, Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, Dr. Lomeli and her team have been working, and all the principals have been working so hard to hire proactively since last spring. So she's going to provide us with a staffing update.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin and cabinet, I'm very excited to present you a brief summary of our staffing. We hired 48 teachers with an average of 6.4 years of experience. Of those 48 teachers, we have 15 of them are special education teachers. 7 of the 15 special education teachers are in our ASU master's cohort, and those teachers actually have an average of 4 years of teaching experience. Some fun facts about our new teachers: we have a previous club leader that has become a teacher, a previous ECP instructor, 2 resident guest teachers, a former guest teacher, a teacher who has taught college level science courses, and 5 previous Madison teachers who have returned to work in Madison. And with all of that, I can say that we are 100% staffed in our teaching positions. We hired the last teacher yesterday as a music teacher. So, yes. And moving on to certified support, this year we hired 2 social workers with 6 years of experience, 3 speech and language pathologists, 12.7 years of experience on average, 2 occupational therapists, a teacher on assignment, and 3 resident guest teachers. And our special education department is pretty much fully staffed. We do have an opening, and I'll get to that here at the end. I did get a question about international teachers. These teachers are not new, and we're pretty proud of the fact that they've come to Madison and they stayed. We have 3 of them. 2 of those teachers this is their 4th year in Madison. We have 1 teacher that this is the 2nd year, and these teachers teach math, Spanish immersion, social studies. We have 2 that are from Mexico and 1 from the Philippines. When it comes to classified staff, this looks funny. We've been hiring all summer, and we just drew the cutoff point from June 1st forward, because we hire classified staff all the time. And so you can see all of the classified staff that we have hired. So we had 53 total classified staff from June 1st until today that we've hired. So recruiting, we're still currently searching for our structured English immersion teacher. That was a newer position that we added this summer. We still have 1 psychologist position to fill, 1 resident guest teacher, although today, between the principal and Anita and HR, they were actively recruiting one of our current guest teachers to go into that position. So I'm guessing by the end of the week that'll be filled. We do need a custodian. Our biggest need is paraprofessionals. We have made a dent in the number of paraprofessionals that we need. We also need some bus drivers and the ever present recruitment of club leaders. So if anybody knows anyone that would like to serve as a club leader, we're hiring. And that's it for my report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lomley, and amazing job, you and your team. This is really great news. We're very fortunate. So yeah, any questions or comments for Dr. Lomley, Ms. Spear?
Congratulations. That's amazing. I don't think that we have ever been fully staffed at the first day of school.
Long time.
I mean, Mr. Holcomb, you enjoy the
Been here the longest.
senior status board member.
I don't think we've ever been fully staffed.
If we have, I don't recall it, and that's 12 years. So congratulations, that's amazing. And with regards to the club leaders, I did want to ask, what is the hiring rate? What is the hourly rate for club leaders?
I should have this memorized. I think it's 16-ish.
Okay. I just wanted to be on the record in case there's anybody watching who has a relative or they themselves might be interested. Thank you.
It's posted on our website, and it's over $16 an hour.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Mr. Holcomb?
I think it'd be helpful if you, real quick, and you or even Ms. Garvey can mention the importance of having all of our special ed and those special, instructors, what that means for the budget for us, because I think that's a huge issue that most people don't understand.
When we hire our own special education staff, then we do not have to contract out. And contracting out for special education staff is very, very expensive. I don't know the exact number, so I don't want to lie, but I know it's really increases the cost of our program.
Great question. Thank you.
2 to 3 times, Barb. Barb knows that answer, but it's very, very expensive.
So for each teacher we get, that saves us 2 to 3 times the salary.
Yep.
That's phenomenal in itself. Plus, you have that consistency and I think that's particularly important for our special ed students.
Yeah, that master's program is really great.
Just briefly, I just want to say kudos. Also, I think it's so impressive not only to be fully staffed, but to see that the average experience of the teachers that we're bringing in is over 6 years. So I'm sure there were a few brand new teachers in there, but we're bringing in seasoned folks who knows what it's like to teach in a classroom and will be sticking around. And to see former Madison teachers coming back is really fantastic. So love that we're growing our own, and we're also bringing people back who may have taught here once before. So thanks to you and your staff and all the hard work.
Thank you. Anyone else for Dr. Lomley? Yes, thank you again. And of course, we know that support staff is so important in addition to our teachers. It's wonderful. I apologize. I'm going to go back real quick and see if we had any questions or comments for Ms. Garvey on the enrollment update. We kind of passed over that. Okay. Thank you. And we'll go on to 6.3 then, with Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, I'll turn this one over to Vice President Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you. As you'll remember, a couple of months ago, the board adopted a list of 5 priorities to be considered for the ASBA Legislative Committee. We adopted it back in May. We are now at the point in the cycle where ASBA in early September is going to have their delegate assembly meeting, and I will be representing the district during those conversations. The draft agenda is from ASBA is included, redlined with the proposed changes that are going to be made, and we wanted to bring this forward to see if the board had any issues that they would like to draw to my attention as I represent the district at the delegate assembly in a month's time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vice President, for being our delegate. And I actually did go, so the political agenda committee met, and I actually went because honestly I didn't really know that that's what they were doing. But I went, and I have to give kudos to ASBA. So it was really well run, and we did go through all this whole thing, and people were really cognizant of trying to keep it short, but keeping everything still that's important in there. So yeah, I thought it was a really good process. And so if anybody has comments or questions for Ms. Thompson, no, none at all. All right, thank you again. All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
move on. So Parent Square contract, Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, I'd like to invite Ms. Guin to come to the board. We are to the podium. We are very excited. We're launching a Parent Square contract, and normally this would be a consent item, but we're really excited to hear how this will enhance communication between the schools, the district, and our parents. Ms. Guin.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Guerin and Cabinet. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present this evening on school-to-home communication. As you know, I've had the opportunity to work on our district's communication team for the last 11 years. And as part of that, I've had the opportunity to see how our processes have changed and evolved and grown over that time. And just like any of our other operations areas, we always strive to continue improving and getting better at things. In that time, we've also seen massive shifts in how communication and technology has changed and just how people consume information in general in their daily lives, right? And so as we're looking at our processes, we say, how is what we're currently doing compare to what's happening? What are those expectations that people have of how we're communicating with them and the standards that they have? And more than ever, there is so much competition for people's eyes and attention from every company, every brand. Now, for others, more eyes and attention means more ad revenue for them, right? They want that in front of us. But eyes and attention for us means family involvement and engagement. They're connected with their kids' school and what's going on. And we know the importance of providing good service to our families and positive experiences. And part of that is meeting people where they're at and making it easy to be engaged. We don't want to make them work harder than they have to. So we want to be mindful of how much time we're asking of them. What barriers might there be in engaging with us, whether that's a language barrier or technical skills. And we know that happy families and engaged families help us build those strong school communities. So as we're kind of reviewing our processes and our practices, we want to make sure that we're addressing the needs that we have. And so we reached out to the schools, their leaders, district leaders, and PTO leadership to find out really what's going on. What practices are they implementing, and how successful do they feel those efforts are? Do they feel their families are connected and know what's going on, or maybe not so much? We also had the opportunity to meet with the Superintendent's Teacher Advisory Council to hear from those teacher representatives. What's working for you? Where are you struggling? What solutions have you put in place to try and overcome those? And so the feedback that we received revealed that perceived success rates of those communications tended to vary by school site. There were definitely schools that felt they had higher engagement with their families than other schools. And another thing that we suspected was happening out there, but this information really brought into sharp focus for us, was that over time there's kind of been a patchwork of solutions that are happening all across the district. We've got tools at the district level. Schools have different methods that they're using on their campuses, all the way down to individual classrooms. A single teacher might be using a specific app for their students that the rest of the school isn't using. And they've implemented these over time to meet a gap and a need that they had to solve a problem. Unfortunately, I think an unintended consequence of that has been that we've now got far too many places that we're asking families to look for information. And going back to that idea of meeting people where they are, and everybody's busy, nobody has time to look in 6 different places. And so from that, we've determined we need a modern communication tool that is used district-wide and that can be accessed by staff to communicate with the families that they serve, whether that's individual classroom teacher, whether it's coaches, school or district administrators, and so that everybody's able to meet families where they're at. Everybody's not coming up with their own individual solutions. And again, we want to create those positive and customizable experiences. I mean, everything is customizable these days, right? If we want to give people the information that's relevant to them. And we need to make sure that we're supporting both those day-to-day communications between schools and families, but also those emergency alert notifications that need to go out right now. And so with anything, there's a million different solutions out there. And so in looking at those, a lot of them tended to fall either into that day-to-day communication or emergency alerts. There were not many that met both of those needs. However, there was one that stood out that fell into both of those categories, and has also been adopted by quite a number of districts across Arizona. And now it's not, oh, let's just jump on the bandwagon and use the same tool that everybody else is using, right? But the fact that so many schools have adopted that shows that this is a tool that has a successful track record of working for families in our community, right, and larger community. And so this evening, we would like to introduce and recommend Parent Square for our school-to-home communication tool. Some brief background on Parent Square. They were founded in 2014. Earlier this year, they acquired the platform Remind, which is a similar notification platform. They have users nationally across the country. They serve thousands of schools and millions of student families. The interface is a very familiar social media style interface that has an app for mobile devices as well as a web-based interface if somebody is more comfortable on that or doesn't have a smartphone. And currently they are serving 25 school districts in Arizona, both in the Phoenix metro area and all across the state. Elementary districts, high school districts, unified districts. Oops. So Parent Square offers mass notifications, which obviously includes our typical text, email, phone calls. And so those urgent alerts, it will also do app push notifications, of course. It also integrates, as I mentioned, that kind of social media feel to it, posts and newsletters. So a teacher can post a reminder to the students in her class, hey, don't forget, homework's due on Thursday. And it will go to those students in her class, or the families of students in the class. It will also do the automatic notifications, so like our attendance calls, things like that. It also offers classroom communications. So think of like direct messaging with families. So it can be one-to-one teacher to a family or a group message. So a teacher can message the families in the entire group. Or let's say if we needed to message the families on a sports team or some other club, we can target those groups and get that information to them without clogging up other people's inboxes if information's not relevant to them, right? And what's super neat about this is the two-way translation. So families in their app or in their web interface can select their preferred language, and they will receive their notifications and their information in their preferred language, and they can message back in their preferred language, and it will translate back to English for the teacher or whatever language the teacher has set for their, yeah, pretty cool. And so it offers other things as well, like parent-teacher conference signups, supply signups, so, you know, those one-off sign-up geniuses, you know, it all gets contained in here. They also offer community groups. So we have the ability to set up groups where community members are able to join, and we can send out information to them as well, to keep members of our community who want more information from us involved. Oh, I am way behind on my slides here, sorry. So how does this fit for Madison and meet our needs? So as I mentioned, it meets both that urgent and day-to-day notification need, and it provides families that consistent place where their school information is timely. It's not getting, you know, lost because Facebook decided it wasn't going to show it to you for 6 days. And it's tailored and relevant information about what's happening at their child's school and in their child's class. As I mentioned, families can customize their experience. It supports over 130 different languages. Families have the option of instant notifications, so they can get notified every time something's posted, or receive a daily digest where it's combined together and they're getting one message a day so their phone's not going off constantly. A note about that, the urgent alerts will override that daily digest. So if we had to send something out, you know, the water's out, we need you to come pick up your student, it wouldn't be 5 o'clock when they got that message. They would get that in a timely fashion. Families can also merge their Parent Square accounts so that their students are all in one place. So whether they're at the same Madison school, if they're in 2 different Madison schools, or, I found this out last week, if their student goes to another district that uses Parent Square, they can all be in one place. And also that ability to engage our larger community more frequently and more directly. So looking at what a proposed timeline and kind of rollout for this would be, we want to start by doing a pilot program. We don't want to just roll this out to everybody and be trying to fix it as we go, right? So we've got several schools who have volunteered to be pilot schools for this. So we'd be looking at September, working to get this set up and working with our systems and get staff trained. And then October, when we come back from fall break, our volunteer pilot schools would get ready to launch. Heights, number 1, Camel View and Park have graciously agreed to be willing to pilot this for us. And then once we get that up and running and, you know, lesson learned, things like that, January we would look, when we come back from winter break, training and launching for the remainder of the schools. Now, it may seem a little bit strange to launch something like this middle of the year rather than the beginning of the year. Part of that was we didn't want to just drop this on people as they walk in the door for the new school year. We want to make sure that people have the opportunity to be trained, get on board, be comfortable with this, and transition, because it will be a big ask for some folks. And we want to make sure that we've got guidelines and standards set up, and that we've got that training and support, both for our staff and our families, because we don't want this to be one more thing we're asking them to do. We want it to be something that makes it better for families, makes it better for teachers, and just improves our ability to communicate and connect. So thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. This was very well thought out and researched, so appreciate your effort into this. Any questions for Ms. Spear, I guess?
As a parent who has had 3 children at 3 different schools across 2 different districts, the idea that I would have been able to communicate with one of my children's high school teachers or a coach, as well as my younger one's, you know, classroom teacher, is blows my mind. The idea, it is a reality that parents have to hunt and peck for information. Things are missed. If your child is in athletics, for instance, in a high school district, try finding something at the AIA website. Just try. And then try finding that coach's schedule that doesn't match the AIA schedule. And then try getting in touch with that coach. And then try figuring out where the actual meet is. And it is just an absolute mess, and it is a terrible experience as a parent. This, while I appreciate that there may be, change is always hard, but this change, I believe, will be welcome. And the idea that we might be able to have engagement from some of our families that have a language barrier, to me, is worth so much, because we're able to make sure that they are heard, they are seen, they are participating in their child's education, and I'm just excited. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Spear. Ms. Kazi, did you have something?
Thank you. Yes, I want to echo Board Member Spear's comments. Right on. So this communication tool, which looks awesome, has quite a few applications. So I was curious. So I assume it could replace something like a Sign Up Genius, obviously, because of the sign up, which is fabulous. And then maybe a classroom directory. Do you foresee it also replacing the school directory, or just at this point the classroom directory?
Can you clarify what you mean, school?
So when you look at some of the utilities of it, it says classroom communications directory.
Yes. So my understanding, and I've had the opportunity to see kind of a demo of it, but I don't know that it's necessarily as full-fledged out. But ideally, it does include the school directory. So, so families would be able to find their students' teachers on there. Absolutely.
Excellent. And then if I could, so do you foresee that PTOs might be able to access this tool or not? What are the thoughts about that?
So that's a question that we've had come up. I would need to dig in a little bit deeper as far as what the permission levels are, as far as getting information, how that can be structured. Their permission levels are very granular, so it's definitely a possibility. If nothing else, PTOs are able to share information with the schools who are able to push it out on their behalf.
And then if I have just a few more, there's some payment applications, so Stripe and PayPal. So you foresee like being able to use those tools in order to gain payment for, because I just, like these are the challenges that small organizations and large organizations like school districts just deal with all the time, right? And so like having that utility is kind of huge. So curious if that's an application that we're exploring potentially.
I think that would be a conversation with Ms. Garvey's team,
Okay.
And some of our other departments that take those payments. In the application, there's also a links section where we're able to post links, and again, that granular ability, right? So we can post links to everyone in the district. A classroom teacher can post links just for her things, and only those relevant families will see that information. And so even if the feasibility right now of moving payment services wouldn't work out, in that links section, we could certainly have those links to whatever those payment links that we have. So even still, that information is within the app, and parents could find it.
Yeah, I just asked that in the terms, at least for the district purposes, for tax credit dollars or for payment of whatever, sport fees, like things that we collect. I imagine their interface is a lot slicker. Than what we probably have right now, because I remember paying it, and it is, it's hard. They're expensive, right? Mm-hmm. And I assume they have a pretty slick system, and just something to consider.
Yeah,
yes.
we can definitely look into that. Thank you.
And then I assume they're using Google Translate for their interface for the languages.
I would presume so.
And so then my final question is, they have a volunteer background check. Is there any interest in exploring that utility and how it relates to the one that we're currently using? If there's any, commonality, or that what we're using is so far and above. I guess I'd just be curious to learn more about that.
That's certainly, yeah, we can look into that, and I'm not sure how that would connect or would be different than the systems we're currently in, but we could certainly look into that.
And I know it's a lot of questions, but it's an exciting tool, and thank you for doing the work to find it.
Excellent questions, Ms. Kazi. Thank you. And I do remember being on the PTO in the schools, we were not allowed to get the information, like the parent information, like we had to get it separately. So I know there's some legal gray areas there, so we'd have to definitely make sure we look into that. So, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing all the work on this. As a parent with not so young kids, but having been in the district for some time, I know that it's been one of my frustrations is too strong of a word, but I'll just say it, frustration, that there are often so many different methods of communication or different ways where, you know, someone in a text message goes out to remind you about, you know, make sure your kid's shoes are tied, but to get something out about a bigger event, it seems more difficult. So I think having some coordinated communication where everything's coming through, parents can choose when they want to get it, I think is incredible. I think thinking about some type of basic structure so there's consistency about when outside entities, associated entities like PTOs or others are able to access it, or when they can, or how often. I think all of those are helpful. I don't want to be overly structured and say only the second Tuesday of months with an R or anything crazy like that, but I think it's helpful. So when parents move from school to school, they know the basic structure of how they're going to be communicated with and who they need to go to send that information. So I think it's incredibly helpful. The other thing I wanted to bring up, similar to Ms. Kazi's question or her questions, is that I think the benefit of having a program like this is they have the R&D to be able to develop new things. And I love that we can be open to using them if they're a good fit for us. And if they're not, that's okay. There's other avenues that we can use to communicate those same things to our constituents. So I'm really excited about being at a school that's one of the guinea pigs for this. I'm really hopeful. I'll share information with you and with the parents about how they're interacting with it, but so glad that we're thinking in this broader picture about how we can better communicate with our families. And just somebody else said, I am so excited about the ability of families to be able to communicate who have those language barriers, hoping not like in the early days of translation hoping the translations are strong, but have a feeling since it's been used across the country that those are pretty solid, but really happy, especially with all the students we're getting from various backgrounds with all the languages that they and their families speak, that this could be really monumental to connect with those families. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Holcomb.
I echo, my kids have not been in school in the district for a while, but I really think this is great for families and our communication. But I also thought what I thought was really good was the ability to have this communication tool work with our community groups. I mean, one of the things I talk about is the interfaith breakfast and the group that we have to have the support from the community, the ability to be able to centralize and standardize that for communication both ways. There, the schools with the universities, all the partners we have. I think that's a tool that we really should take a great deal of advantage of. I also wanted to compliment you on, and the district in general, about the pilot, the way you approach the pilot and the scheduling and your explanation. I've always been extremely proud of Madison, how we use pilot programs. We just don't throw something out there, but we really pilot it and work on how the timing should work. And I thought that was very well reflected in how you're approaching this. And then the last thing, I was just curious on the 130 languages. Are those languages include languages that relate to our refugee population? Because we now have refugees. Are their languages included?
I am not entirely certain. I would hope that they are. I'm glad to to look into that and double check that, but I would imagine in the 130
Yeah.
that they would be in there, but we can definitely be sure
Yeah.
to check that.
And the last thing, all the questions and comments you got here, this is not a grilling. I think it really reflects how excited the board is about this and really to see this come to fruition. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, we're excited. As a coach as well, I can't tell you the hundreds of emails I have sent out about cross country, and still there are some that doesn't seem, some things that don't seem to get communicated to some people, amazingly. So, yeah, that would be great for them too. So, and yes, Ms. Thompson can report back to us on that, and maybe, I don't know, if Parent Square maybe wants to someday like do it, distribute it to all the universities too, and we can do everybody at once. Okay, any other questions or comments on that? Oh, Ms. Causey, go ahead.
I don't know if they've shared this, but they're using, Google Translate as their translation platform. So Google Translate has 133 languages, and they just announced at the end of June that they're adding 110 new languages. So they'll have 243 languages in total. So I feel pretty confident
Yes.
that
Wow.
the languages of our refugee families are included in that 243 number.
AI is good for some things. Okay, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second.
Moved by Ms. Thompson, seconded by Ms. Spear. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you again, Ms. Guin. And we'll go on to 8.1, Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, we are busy building our fall board agenda calendar, and I'm really excited that Mr. Piankowski is going to present a parent survey result overview to us on August 20th. The principals have already engaged with that with all administrators in a really thoughtful, productive way, and I'm excited for you to see that. In addition, we will be, you just approved this evening the new Madison Center for the Arts director, and we will have her introduced at the board meeting. And we have just a tentative hold on the Helios data agreement. I'm still working on finalizing that, so it'll either be the August 20th meeting or the first meeting in September. We're just dotting our I's and crossing our T's because it is a data sharing endeavor. But the Helios Data Center helps us to look at data across the valley and see how our students are doing, how they do when they enter high school and in college, and it just helps inform our decisions in a broader way. And this is a part of the collaborative of 13 districts that feed into Phoenix Union that are getting to do this first. So it's pretty exciting for our K-8 districts. We do have our study sessions. Those are just finalized, so you'll see those popping up on your calendar if they're not there already. On September 10th, we'll have, we decided to go back to the 2:15 time frame to make it a little easier for those that are busy working during the day. But we'll make sure that we don't have any major awards or presentations or anything to go into the 6 o'clock meeting, and we are splitting them up into, the elementary and the middle school. So you'll have those dates as well. And then I think that's all I'll share for tonight, and I'll continue to share as we build the agenda.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments on Mr. Holcomb?
Yes, real quick, based upon the presentation we just had too, this is out a ways, but I'd really welcome that we put on the calendar now, an update on the parent portal that we're talking, Parent Square. So, so maybe in December, we could celebrate Christmas holidays with that.
Yes, we absolutely would love an update.
Great idea. And I will put out there, I'm tentatively may not be here for the August 20th meeting, so if Vice President Thompson will be here for that. I ran into a snafu with the rental car, so I'm not sure my plans yet, but I'm supposed to be driving my son up to Spokane for college, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah. All right. Any other Anything else for the good of the order? We'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Thompson, seconded by Ms. Causey. Please vote.
The motion was actually by Mr. Holcomb.
Oh, Mr. Holcomb.
Voice got all.
Better watch out for your job there, Mr. Holcomb. Oh, I think that was, did that go up? Was that unanimous? No, not yet. Wait for it. There we go. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Show you